Today, Babur's garden is a green refuge from the daily stress of poverty, rapid growth and conflict. But it was not always a refuge. When the Aga Khan Trust for Culture began surveying the garden in 2002, 25 years of conflict had left little of what had once captivated Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire, who yearned to be returned to his favorite garden in Kabul upon his death. The challenge was to recreate the garden, but it took considerable investment and 6 years of hard work. The revival of the Bagh Babur is just one part of the Aga Khan Development Network's wider development program for Afghanistan. A program that integrates cultural projects with healthcare, microfinance, economic development, rural development, and education. The AKDN has contributed hundreds of millions of its own funds and mobilized over $1 billion from donors for the reconstruction of Afghanistan. As part of that effort, the Aga Khan Trust for Culture has been working to improve living conditions in a number of Afghan cities. To date, it has restored over 150 monuments, landmark buildings, and historic houses. Part of those efforts include Bagh Babur, but they also encompass what's left of Kabul's war-ravaged historic Old City, where the Trust has improved drainage, alleyway paving, and living conditions. It has also generated employment amongst some of the most marginal and impoverished communities in the city. Another large project has been the preservation of the 19th century mausoleum of Timur Shah, now an oasis of calm in the very busiest part of the city. Religious shrines have been conserved, including Ashikan wa Arafan, a popular place of pilgrimage for women, and the Chardamasum Shrine in the old musicians' quarter. The process of reconstruction not only provides work, but also training for skilled craftsmen. 60 owners have been given grants to repair their traditional houses. Other projects in Kabul include the rehabilitation of the Chihilitsun Palace and Garden, and the restoration of the Store Palace, among others. The Aga Khan Trust has been active across the country in Herat, where different sorts of problems are threatening the fragile historic old city. The problem is newfound wealth rather than poverty. A brash obsession with glass facades that flout local planning controls puts intense pressure on the survival of the traditional fabric of the city. To save this heritage, the Aga Khan Trust has invested in building conservation that will improve the living conditions of 60,000 people who live in the old city. The old Silk Bazaar has been restored and once again is part of the local economy. Sites in historic cities have been returned to their owners, adorned by the work of a new generation of craftspeople. Several community mosques and 3 historic water cisterns were preserved, one the largest in Afghanistan, and converted into local community centers. Other projects include the Citadel of Herat and the Gazorga Shrine, a 15th century Timurid complex that holds the grave of Khawaja Abdullah Ansari, the renowned mystical poet, one of Afghanistan's most important places of pilgrimage. Other projects were completed in Balkh and Badakhshan. In Balkh, the 16th century shrine of Abu Nasir Khawaja Pasha and a complex of historic structures were restored. And the Noor Gunbad Mosque, believed to be the oldest and most important early Islamic era building in Afghanistan and possibly in the wider region, was made structurally sound and restored. In Badakhshan, there are a number of other projects. In the Aga Khan Trust's experience, culture, after all, should be seen as an asset rather than a liability, one that can be leveraged by the Afghan people to improve their lives. Painstaking conservation continues here with the hope that Afghans can reap the benefits while taking pride in their rich cultural heritage.
تشکر از آمدنتان. خانه ما توسط بنیاد کلتوری آقا خان بازسازی شده چون که در اثر جنگ‌ها تخریب شده بود و از جمله خانه‌هایی که به حساب بازسازی شده خانه کاکا امین، خانه جیلان، رامبو، خانه کاکا شکور و همچنان مساجد و زیارت‌ها می باشد که با بازسازی هزی سطح زندگی ما خوبتر شده چون سابق تخریب شده بود و همچنان فعلا سهولت‌های ما مثلا کوچه‌های ما درست شده، بازسازی شده، سرک‌های ما و همچنان خانه ما که ما زیاد خوش و راضی هستیم از اینکه به حساب از اینکه خانه ما بازسازی و از حالت تخریب شدن و ویران شدن درست شد.